presenters who are going to present on the first topic of the overview of the current state of agriculture in the state. It would be interesting to see how much progress we've made across the country. I think over the last few years, we have seen a conscientious effort by all the states to focus on agriculture largely through increase in the spending of agriculture as a percentage of the budget, or facilitating private sector partnership in resulting in an increase of agriculture as a percent of GDP. Of course, through agriculture, we aim to see eliminating hunger, reduction in poverty, food security, and exports. So we will be listening to the presenters to be able to see whether the states have been able to meet, for example, the Maputo Declaration. We're hoping that 10% of all our budget to be in agriculture. Or what efforts have we made in the area of allowing private sector participation in setting up different types of agricultural projects? Secondly, also, we'll listen to what have we done to really unlocking this agricultural value chain. The question is, have we been able to trigger an industrialization process that will have increased production, increase the processing of agriculture, and greater parts of that to produce and increase economic earnings? The question is, can it be done? I think the answer, we hope we all agree, is yes. If you remember, at the time, Nigeria was dependent largely on agriculture. 18%, for example, of global production of cocoa was from here in Nigeria. All of us know at one time, Nigeria is #1 palm oil exporter. Nigeria was exporting 47% of groundnuts. And in the 60s, export crops was the #1 foreign exchange earner. So the question is that it has been done, and it's possible for us to do it again. The challenges that we have is what I hope the presenters will be able for us to discuss and see what role the states can make. In my own little observation, it's clear that a lot of states are taking the initiative to begin to address some of these challenges. And I believe that a country that we're still spending close to $10 billion a year on food imports and things like rice, fish, and sugar means that we have a challenge to see how can we change that direction. How can we see that we are food sufficient, and the majority of production of food is done locally. Those are the issues that I hope the presenters will be able to make forward. But already it's the governors themselves also, I'm sure, will be able to contribute here, because some of them are doing a lot of good work in this area. In the last 10 years, definitely we have seen progress in this. I don't want to speak before the presenters, but some of us, of course, will contribute, because I'm sure a lot of us have had practical experiences to be able to contribute. But I would leave the floor now for the different presenters. We'll start off with what are the states doing in the area of agriculture? What is the current state of agriculture in all our 36 states? And the first presenter would come forward. I think that would be Dr. Abagambuko. Yes. Yes. To please tell us on the overview of the current state of agriculture in the states. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, the Right Honorable Rotimi Amici, Your Excellencies, distinguished governors here present, and the Chief Host, the Action Governor of Lagos State. I happen to be one of your greatest fans up the Niger. The Chairman of the occasion, Your Excellency, most distinguished Senator Abubakar Bukola Saraki, other distinguished guests, the Director General of the NGF, Barrister Okaru, members of the organizing committee, my friends in the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a very good morning. Now, the overview of the current state of agriculture in the states, we want to take a look, and most of the information I have, I was able to gather from the series of activities we did under the NGF. The last one was the peer review mechanism under the distinguished leadership of Barrister Okaru. We moved around the 36 states of the country, and honestly, it was a great eye-opener for me personally, because few of us can be found that has moved around all the states. Perhaps if you're not on a presidential campaign team, definitely. So it was a great eye-opener, and most of the information I have based on what I saw physically and practically. Now, let's take a look. Nigeria has a landmass of 92.3 million hectares, 79.8 million hectares arable. Unfortunately, as we are talking today, only 33.4 million hectares is actual cultivation. The remaining is lying, wasted, fallow. Then we have 3.14 million hectares of what you call fadama, the irrigable lands. As we are talking today, just about 100,000 hectares is under irrigation. We have a population of 150 million people. We have 528 different ethnic groupings. 80% of the 170 million people are directly or indirectly involved in agriculture. Unfortunately, we just have 14 million farming families, which is just less than about 10%. And of course, we all know that agriculture is the largest contributor to the GDP from the non-oil sector. Nigeria is blessed with a huge diversity of climate. Agroecologically, we have the savanna, Sahel, Sudan, Guinea, derived Guinea. Then we have the rainforest. We have the mountain, Mambila, Jos, Obudu. The diversity is something that should be taken into real consideration. Now, in the Sahel region, by the time you go to the extreme fringes of Sokoto State, the rainfall pattern is about 3 months per annum. And the farmers in Sokoto State are still aching it out under the 3 months rainfall regime. Then by the time you come to the rainforest, there is a particular place in part of Rivers State that has about 12 months of rainfall per annum within the same country. So you have 3 months or even less than 3 months in a particular section of the country, and you have 12 months in another part of the country. That diversity can only be found in Nigeria, and it's a very great advantage if it can be capitalized upon. The present status, Excellencies, honestly, what we found out is the major problem is the policy inconsistency from the federal level. Within the last 30 years, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has changed its name 27 different times. This year, they will say it's Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources. Then they divorce water, and then they remarry water again. They put cooperatives, they divorce cooperatives. They put rural development, they divorce it. It's affecting the states. We want a situation whereby you have Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development at the national level. And all the 36 states should key in so that there shouldn't be any kind of discrepancy whatsoever. But as I'm talking to you now, you move to the states, you find Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Women Affairs, etc. So there is no synergy, honestly. There is no synergy. And the system is rudimentary. We still use the hoe. In some countries, the hoe can only be found in the museum. But still, the hoe is the major instrument of farming in Nigeria. And of course, it's almost hereditary. My father was a farmer. When he dies, we now inherit the farm. If he was a polygamous man, we now fragment the farm and then small hectareages, etc. The hectareages are very, very small. Then, of course, no modern technology, apart from some few states that have done great things in the course of the presentation we'll see. And then the fertilizer and other inputs is a great mirage. We're talking about the growth enhancement scheme. You buy a research card, you scratch the number, you put it into your phone, you call, the service provider will answer, then you are entitled to 2 bags of fertilizer and a bag of seeds. When they were doing that, the whole of the Northeast, the network was not there. So farmers in areas that had no network communication services were actually cut off completely. These are very great things. Then, of course, definitely by the time you put low input, what you expect is another low out. Is found all over. Erosion in the southeast, desertification in almost all the northern states of the country, soil degradation in the southwest. We have to take that into cognizance as well. Then, of course, most of our farmers are not knowledgeable about farming. And all people are still on the farm. The last time we did a survey, the average age of a Nigerian farmer is 58 years old. All the youths are out of the farms. And these are the strong, able-bodied people that will actually turn the subsector around. Unfortunately, you see them in the town selling recharge cards, petrol on the roadsides, and some are political thugs.